good news here from last week, but it will become bad news shortly. U.S. President Donald Trump's ability to wage war on Iran without congressional approval has been limited in a Senate bill passed by his fellow Republicans. The Iran War Powers Resolution was approved by a vote of 55 to 45, hours after Mr. Trump warned that it would make America less safe from Iran. Oh, please. The House passed a version of the bill in January after Mr. Trump ordered the killing of a top Iranian general. Mr. Trump is expected to veto the bill once it reaches the White House. That's the bad news right there. On Thursday, 8 Republicans bucked the president's party, which has a majority in the Senate, to vote in favor of forcing Trump to consult with Congress before conducting military operations against Iran. So, I don't have the list of the Republicans here, but I do believe it's more or less your usual suspects of people who bucked the president's authority. Rand Paul, Mike Lee, to name just two. But so it's great news that it passed the Senate. This is a wonderful middle finger to the face of Trump and to the unitary executive theory of power, which is the president gets to do whatever the hell he wants. But Trump is going to veto it, so that's massively depressing. Now, I will say, though, and that's what this story proves, that Trump, he was just nothing but a charlatan and a fraud and a con man when he went out there repeatedly and he tried to pretend like he is the anti-war candidate, like he would bring the troops home. He would, bring the troops home, rebuild our country, stop doing all these stupid wars. Since he's gotten into power, we have increased the drone war, which was already bad with Obama. Already terrible, 90% civilian death rate, but Trump's civilian death rate's about the same, and he's increased the number of drone strikes. He increased it by 432%, and that's a fact that's old now. It's a year and a half, 2 years old, so it could be even more than that by now. But increase the drone war, increase true presence in Syria, increase in Iraq, increase in Afghanistan, now repeatedly prodding and moving towards war with Iran, assassinating a top Iranian general, willy-nilly, when there was no threat to the United States of America. So extreme, so over the top, so impulsive, that now even the House and the Senate are like, you know what, man? Under the Constitution, we have the authority to declare war. So we're preventing you from doing another attack against Iran. We are officially putting it in writing. Here we go. Here it is right here. And you got to give massive credit to, Bernie Sanders for leading the charge on this, Ro Khanna for leading the charge on this as well. I know Tulsi Gabbard's deeply committed to these anti-war positions as well, and she's been front and center in a lot of these fights. And there's politics going on behind the scenes, and you got, Nancy Pelosi wanted the person to lead it in the Senate to be Tim Kaine, so he could give the centrists a win in which is something that they rarely ever get. Pelosi wanted to make the centrists look like they actually care about this anti-war issue, when of course they don't. So many centrists voted for Trump's bloated military budget. Elizabeth Warren voted for Trump's bloated military budget. A lot of these same people voted to give Trump more NSA spying powers, which is just absurd and obscene. So, but either way, thankfully, we had a little bit of a check on him here. He's going to veto it, and that's terrible. But if I'm any of the Democrats running for president, if I'm any elected official in this country, I'm using this to clobber Trump over the head with. This is where Democrats usually fail at politics, is when the president of the other party or a politician of the other party does something wrong, they don't make them pay a price. They don't get a pound of flesh from them. That's what we should do. And that's what I would do, because I would play all the clips of Trump with all his anti-war stuff on the campaign trail and then compare and contrast it with all the hawkish actions that he's done. Because fundamentally, in the same way that he's an elitist's wet dream when it comes to deregulation of the economy and tax cuts for the rich, he's a standard elitist Republican. He's the neocon's wet dream when it comes to foreign policy now. And there's never been a clearer example than this. So he could do all the fake populist talk he wants and do all the paleo-conservative talking points he wants. He's not that. And his record shows it, and that's all that really matters.